Hello everybody, Vicky here. It's the 23rd of January and you haven't heard from me. It's not because I've been missing in action, it's because I started out the year with my first project, and me being me, it morphed into a huge event. I'm still getting it done. It should be up within the next week, I'm hoping, and it'll be, I think, a 3 or maybe 4 part series on the project I'm working on. So I have been around and I have been trying to be a little bit better with content and being regular, but I tend to blow things out. So having said that, I was watching my friend Sue. It's when I go to bed at night, I unwind, I try and watch some videos and try and keep up a little bit. Mostly I just go to sleep with the ear thing in my ear, and then I wake up every couple of hours or so. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I was looking at Rachel at Roxy Creations to do her challenge, just to try and get me to be a little bit more disciplined with the size of the videos that I do, and not to keep extending them over, further and further and further. So what I've done is and then last night I think it was last night or the night before, I saw Sue over at Paper Inspirations. Like, you all know her and I are good friends, and I kind of like what she's done. I mean, I love what Roxy's done. Okay, Rachel, I think what you've done is really lovely, but I'm in the same predicament that Sue is, and probably all of us, 6x6 pads. So this is a 6x6, this is a 6.5 by 6.5. Now, why I ever bought them, I'm assuming because it was like, oh, look at that, it's pretty. And then they sit and sit and sit and sit, and nothing ever gets done with them. So Susan sort of like reminded me that I've got all these pads about. So what I've done is I've taken out 3 from one pack and 3 from the 6.5. Now, probably only needed to do 1 of each, but like, I've contained myself to 6, and that's pretty good for me, to be honest. So what I'm going to do now is I'm thinking that I really like that one, and I like the white on the inside. I've been starting over the last few months not being so objectable to white. These 2 I'll put the coffee paper on, and these 3. So we might just go ahead and do that now. Now, because this is repetition, I think I might just fast forward through this. So just let me get the paper down on them, and then we can go on to the next step. So I'm really excited about this year. I'm excited about our little shop that we want to build. We have got it open, but there's not much in there at the moment, and we're not generating very much traffic, and that could have a whole lot to do with the fact that I haven't been organised enough to have an admin day. I'm just trying to find a rhythm and a routine that will suit. Now, this one is a coffee dyed, and I put it on a doily, and it looks quite nice on my monitor, but it really isn't that nice at all. So what I'm going to do is rather than waste it, I'm going to use the back side of it. Now, that one's gone in a little bit crooked. You can see how I've done that crooked. Once upon a time I'd be ripping that up and I'd be going, can't leave that there like that. But this gets sewn down and nobody's ever going to see it. So it's all part of my journey of just chill, Vic. Just chill. It's okay. It's okay. It looks really, really bad, but it's not even quite 1/4 of an inch there, to tell you the truth. So it's like, I need to learn to just, don't take myself so seriously. Let's just get things done. And I don't mean let's just do things poorly. I don't mean, I don't think I'll ever be a whacker on girl, slap it down and move on. I tend to be methodical, and I tend to be slow, which is why a 2 or 3 day project has turned into a 2-week project, and why I'm still going. Now I just want to get that as close as I can to there, just to give me an idea where to lay that down without laying it on top of the other one. So because it's white, it's a little bit easier if you just hold that up a bit, so you can just see where the crease is. Because it's like with this, it's copy paper, which means it's 80 GSM, which means it's actually really quite thin. And you say, I've done it. I did exactly what I didn't want to do. I don't know what I was saying now. That's the other thing I've got going for me at the moment. I've got so many ideas in my head and my list of jobs that I want to do now. I really want our business to work, so I'm not taking that lightly. But at the end of the day, I'm self-paced, and I don't have an employer. I don't have targets that I have to. But the only thing that I have to deal with is me, and like Graham has come on board with me, and he's been doing the computer work for me. He's been checking the website, and so he's been an absolute marvel. So he's kind of like my business partner, if you like, and he's been very, very helpful. But there are things that I just have to do, and I think a lot of the problem, and I've got a feeling that I've talked about this on some other videos, but a lot of my videos that I make end up blowing out, and I normally just cull them down and do a voiceover. I think I've been a little bit better with this project that I'm working on now. I don't think that I've got a voiceover on them, but I have sped the footage up. So I've been out of the workforce for so long now. I really question whether or not I actually did anything. It feels like that. So I've got those 3 6x6 onto one sheet of copy paper, and like I said, don't ever, I'd be disappointed that something didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, but remember, you just flip it over. And if that was going into a journal or onto a bigger project, I might have actually used that page, but because it's quite dark, I didn't want it to overpower the pages. So yeah, when you don't, like when I used to go to work, like I was pretty super organised person, and it's very hard to be an unorganised person when the essence of who you are is to be organised, and to know that to start with a direction and a goal in mind and actually get to the other end of it, keeping that goal the same without dithering and without changing it. And like, I'm not saying never change direction, because more often than not we start out with an idea in our head and we think, right, got it, nailed it, let's just get it done, only to find that you've come up with a better idea. You've come up with something that's going to work just that little bit better. I'm not talking about that kind of change of direction. I'm just talking about I don't have the discipline. I seem to have lost a lot of that discipline that we acquire when we are going to work, when you have got people with expectations of you getting something done and getting it done correctly and in a timely fashion. So, and then a lot of the time that I've been home on my own, Graham's been at work, so I only had him home for the last couple of years, so such a never long time. I think that's very good English. For a long time I've just bopped around the house and I've been able to come and go and please myself and, you know, swap and change between projects, which does my head in. I do it all the time now. Look at me, I'm doing it now. I'm on the home stretch with the journals, but there's still a bit to do, and I thought I was looking at Roxy's challenge to do it, and I was like, oh, just get these journals done. No, I can't think about anything else. Let's just get this project finished with. And I've enjoyed it immensely, and I guess that's why things end up growing, like my ideas change and they evolve, and then I think, oh, one more thing. I thought I'd have just a little break from it for two reasons. One, I'm just peeling off a bit of glue that went up there. You don't get too excited with what you're doing or you're going to wreck your paper. So that'll be slimmed down, so I'm not terribly worried about it. What you don't want is you don't want your paper, like, oh, that's what I was saying, even though it's only 80 GSM, you don't want your paper or anything that you're working with to go over your fold. So if you've got a fold, you put your paper up to or just before that fold, so that then that doesn't foul on the fold every time you want to open it or close it. And if you've got a lot of things, thicknesses build up, even 80 GSM, obviously. The more layers you put on, the thicker it gets. So you always want to make sure that you try not and put any extra layers of any sort over an inside, like the valley side of your fold, because it's just a good habit to get into. Not quite as imperative, like I said with the coffee paper, but a good habit to get in, so that when you are working with thicker pages or materials, you're going to know not to put anything on there. So once again, my head's jumping all over the place, and all I can do is, as best of British, keep up. So I will stop talking for a moment, and I'll probably put this bit on fast forward, and we will just trim this paper back. What we're going to do is, so these pockets are now I'll fold them in half now and try and get them as exact as I can. And I'm looking for a bone folder. There we go. So the idea of these is that it can sit on the page down there like that and tuck in here. So just glue along there and a little bit up here, and you can have it tucked there, and then over here it'll be the same. You'll have a tuck there as well. And what else did Sue say? We could have it closed like this. Actually, I'll leave that there like that, and I'll show you on another one. I'll do one folded the other way, because this one wants to all buckle on me. It's fairly thick. It's thick, 6 by 6. So then with this one, we'll fold it in. Hang on a minute, I'll see which. I'm just having a look to see which one I like. So I might fold this one in. And then we fold it. Now you can see there where I folded it, it's just out just a little bit. So what I'm going to do with that is, just going to get my scissors. I'm just going to cut along there like that. So now this one can sit down the bottom, and you can open it up and have 2 tucks in here, and once again you can have that there. Now if you really wanted to, what you could do is you could just clip this in to a journal, like if you're making a journal to sell or to gift to somebody, you can just clip it in and they can put it down wherever they want to, or you can have it going that way and have your tuck there. So with this way you would need to have a little latch of some sort put on there, but if you go this way like that, you can glue it down, but then you can also just grab a paper clip. You could decorate it a little bit, put a little bit of sari silk or something on there, and then you can have that clipped in. Sorry, my hands and my wrists aren't very happy today, so just pretend I'm not as clunky. So you can have it there like that as well. So there's a couple of different ways that we could do this. So I quite like that, so I'm going to have that side out. This one I've got like that. So what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to put it over the page like that, and one of these 6 by 6, this one's very pretty. I think I might fold it in like that, and I'll have it facing in so that we need a little latch to close it off. But of course I'm doing these to have a few in my stash, so we won't be able to do the little closure until we want to actually put it in. So that's 1, 2. I like this idea, just a little bit better. I'll do that. We can get you there. Now here I'm just using the edge just to push that into place a bit. Now, I have always stenciled on my pages and stamped. So if I'm doing, for example, here, I've always done it with my journals. So we go in and then you go all the way through, and then I've just put a little bit of stenciling on each page, and I do that on all my journals. And then on plain pages I put a little stamped image down in the corner. So that's basically my blank journal to start with. So I've done that since the very first one that I have made. So when I'm doing things like this, I tend to still want to do that stenciling and or just a little bit of stamping. Now normally I have a piece of paper under me, but because I like to catch all the ink and everything else, this is Glad Bake. I've taken to putting a page of that in my journals because it sounds really, really nice. So I'm just going to go and I'm just going to go through on all 6 of them, and I'm going to just do a little bit of random stenciling. So I'll just quietly do this and we'll fast forward through, and I'll see you on the other side. Prepped, ready to go. Like I said, like Sue, I like to do sewing around mine, so I'll just get my sewing machine and I'll be back. Now I have my sewing machine ready to go. So what I'm going to do is, first step is, do it logically, we stitch across there and then we go around the outside. But obviously if you don't do that first, you won't be able to do it because you'll have it down. So you probably don't need to hear me. I'm being a little bit lazy. I think this would look nice with the chocolate brown cotton on it. And I'm just going to do one and see if this is okay. So the first thing we're going to do, let's find out where my threads are. Okay, now occasionally I will do a little back stitch to hold the stitches, but I'm not a great lover of doing that, especially on paper. So normally I would pull the front thread through to the back and I would tie them off, cut it and then glue it down. But because this is actually going to be folded over, I'm not going to, I'm looking for glue while I'm talking. Glue everywhere, but not the one I want. Because this is just going to be folded over, I can just tie. I can just not tie. I don't have to tie. I can just sort of like grab hold of those threads. I'm hoping you can see this okay. And then just glue them down at the edge. And then the same up this end. Now I've only put a very tiny little bit there, so it's only going to take a second or two to dry, because what you have to be careful of, if you put it too far along and you close it up while the glue's wet, you're going to stick your pages together, aren't you? So that just holds them in there. Now what tends to happen is when you're holding it down for it to glue, it's going to stick to your finger and then the glue's going to lift. Now I use a product called Heat and Bond, and it comes with a release paper, and I've got a piece of it around me so this doesn't stick. So rather than use your finger that's going to keep sticking all the time, just hold it down with that release paper and it's not going to stick. So I guess it's just like a little bit of baking paper, like the release paper that's on stickers, that sort of thing. So we do that and we can just trim that off. Now if you want to, and I occasionally try and remember to do it, but I'm not very good at it, you can have a thread or two hanging. And the shake in my voice when I say that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I've done a cross there, it's been inked, so now I'm going to go up, across and around, and I'm going to do that 5 more times. So I'll put this on fast forward and we'll go from there. I'm back now. I've sewn around my 6 little pockets that I'm doing, and I've just got this little piece of card here that I've dyed. So this one's going to sit on one side of the page. So that's your page, turn it over and that's there. So I just want to do a little bit of decorating on these now. Not a real lot. I've got some bits and bobs here. Let's see what we've got. These are all bits that I stamped out on paper, that, you know, scraps of paper that were left, and I thought, well, I could go crazy and stamp on them. Then of course I put them in one of my little trays and promptly forgot all about them. So this year's about use it up, people use it up. Now I've got that little piece of fabric there that's left over from the big project I was telling you about. So I'm thinking I actually want to keep this a little bit simpler because it's fairly thick as it is, and I don't want to add too much bulk to it. So if I just layer a few, so these are all stamped out on copy paper, so there's no real thickness in them. And remember that what you do on one side, you're going to have these, so you'll only see this side. So we're just decorating this side at the moment. Kind of just like that in there for that little bit of an extra little colour, and we'll put that one there. And I'm just thinking we need just one more, I think, like this one. I'll put that one there. I think I might just leave it like that. So if I tear that a little bit, give it a little bit of an ink. Now because this is really thin paper, I tend to like to use my stick glue. Put that there. Now I've got this one. Now we will stick this one down. And now our circle, which is a bit wonky, so I'll just ink around it. That one there. So that's one side done. Now we've got to do this side. Now it just doesn't quite exactly line up there, but these will be on different pages, so they won't be sitting side by side. So I'm not going to worry about trying to just fix that a little bit up. Just grab a wet one. And you get some wet ones. It doesn't matter what you do, they won't feed. I'm going to keep fighting the blocks to get them. So if I just wipe that off like that. Bit on my hands. And then that's. So we've got that one done. So like I said, it doesn't really matter that they match as such, because they go over the page. So what we do to one won't be seen on the other. Thinking that looks really very nice, but it's just a little bit, although I don't know. They're a bit big, so that would be Louie. Thank you, Louie. There's a big fella didn't start. I suppose that's a bonus, isn't it? So you can see what I'm aiming for now. That's a really nice colour to go on there. And that. And that. So if we just cut that down a little bit. I can either actually like that slide better. So I'll just do a little bit of a whip round with this one. Just to cover up those wide edges. So that can go there. And this can go there like that. How about you there? something. So these are just little simple little collages or clusters, whatever you'd like to call them. The other one's going to Amsterdam, that one's going to Paris. So I'm thinking that actually looks quite nice. So we go this one first. And I want this one. So it's all about layering when it comes to doing these. If like me, you think, oh, I'm absolutely rubbish at clusters, just no good at it at all. Don't call it a cluster, call it a collage. And you're just collaging bits down onto a paper, and that creates a cluster. So if you think, oh no, I can't collage, I know how to do clusters, we'll call it a cluster. That way you're not talking yourself out of doing stuff that you could well be doing. So there we go. So that's number one, my little pocket. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Roxy. Roxy started the challenges, Sue did this, and I actually like the way Sue did hers using the 6x6 papers. I can see that as a very handy way of using up. So that one's done, and this will be a lovely little piece of ephemera to have in my box ready to go. Well, I'm back again, and as you can see, I'm in a pretty big mess. Things just got worse, so we'll just do a tidy up. This is how we tidy up. You just push it. Keep pushing, and if you hear a loud bang, it's because something's actually fallen off. So I've just cleared a little bit of a space, and I'm going to show you our end results of Roxy Creations challenge, and I've followed the ways Sue from Paper Inspirations did hers. I like Roxy's, I really do, and I do a lot along those sort of lines, whereas when Sue said using up 6x6, my ears just pricked up and gone. Yeah. Alrighty. Here we go. So this is the 6.5 by 6.5. This one is going to go over. This is really funny. Here's my page. So it's going to go that way, like that. So there's my page. That's the inside, and we have a pocket here. We can have a pocket there. Turn it over to the other page, we've got a pocket there, and we can have a pocket there. So that's one. This is 2 of the 6.5. So it's just really showing you how I've just decorated it, and I've kept it fairly simple because it's going into a journal with lots of other stuff, and if we do it too thick, it's going to all bulk out. So that's that one. And then on the inside I've done that, there's little lace under there if you can't quite pick it up. So they're the 3 6x6s, 6.5 by 6.5, and these are the 6x6s. So I've got calm there, which is what I'm trying to do, and pretend that the whole place isn't sinking, and life there, and once again same deal, and the little pockets that will go over the page. So we've got that one, and then we turn it over to the next page, and we've got that one, and this one here. So that's one side, and that's the other side. So I'm really very pleased with these. I didn't set the timer. Putting a timer on me only leads to great disastrous results. But hey, let's keep laughing because that's what we have to do. So I hope everybody enjoyed my take on Roxy's and Sue's interpretation of her challenge. This is week 1, so this is about the 23rd of January, so I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay. I'll plod along and try and have the discipline to do it. It's not so much that I lose my mojo. I play with scraps for an hour or so, and I'm good to go most times. It's just that I would like to start getting some things done and getting some things finished. Like I said, I've got a project on the go that I thought would be my first video, and planned on being like regular with my videos for everybody, and it's blown out now to I think 10 days or something. And then I've got a photograph and all the rest of it. So I thought this would be a good way for me to have some ephemera ready to go. These will be a great asset when I've done them in the shades and the decoration that will fit into pretty much any journal I make, with the exception of some brights that are going to be coming up. Oh, and I'm going to try and do more pretty, and that one's really pretty. So on that note, this one will glue down on the back, and you can glue it so you've got a pocket, and then it'll open up like that onto the one page. So that's and I did that because this paper is just so pretty. Okay everybody, I hope everybody is well. Be kind to you, and be kind to the person standing next to you. Until next time, bye for now.